Niambi Ayanna, back with another video. Okay, I missed you guys so much, and I hope that each and every one of you are in high spirits and good health, considering that we are still in the midst of this pandemic. But I am finally here to do the well-awaited part 2 of my story time, sharing how I was robbed in my first ever apartment. So if you guys are interested in hearing how I was able to break my lease, then let's get right into this. Ooh. Before we start, if any of you haven't seen part 1, then pause right here and click the link down below so that you can catch up on the wild adventure from the beginning. Otherwise, to pick up where I left off, basically I had to move all of my boxes out of the apartment into my car, and the officer waited outside for me, thankfully. And big shout out to my mother for staying on the phone with me the entire time, from the minute I set foot into the apartment until I was safe and sound asleep. She really was my support system because I was emotionally, mentally, and physically drained from all of those heavy boxes. My arms were tired. I felt like I wasn't going to be able to finish, but I did, and she encouraged me to do so. So after everything, I was starting to unwind, and I texted the leasing agent that helped me get the apartment. And for the sake of the video, I'll call her Amber. And I just let her know what happened, and she called me immediately asking if I was okay and making sure that I was safe. And the following day, I decided to head over and speak with the manager in person around noon. And that was a completely unpleasant encounter because the manager was super dismissive and rude from the beginning. Essentially, she didn't really believe anything that I said and was like,
"Oh, well, just give me the police incident number, bring in the report so I can double check to see if this is true."
And she tried to put the blame on me, saying that I was negligent in not locking the doors at all, and that's why somebody was able to enter into my space. When I tell you, I was super frustrated and annoyed because as I let her know, I always double check my locks. I do now to this day, and way before I even got that apartment. It all started back in middle school and boarding school. Somebody stole some of my items. So if you guys would like to hear some of my stories about boarding school, then leave a comment down below. Otherwise, after that, I kept my choice words to myself, and I left the establishment. So in the meantime, while I waited for the report, I started my paper trail with the manager via email, and I'll leave a few of the emails over here if you would like to view them. And she changed to a more professional tone in her emails, of course, but she let me know that I would not be able to just break the lease easily, that I would have to follow standard procedures, which is giving notice 60 days in advance and paying for those 2 months still occupying the space, which was completely unethical and uncalled for because I had lived there less than a week, I believe, and my space was violated and I was completely unsafe. We had a lot of emails exchanged letting her know that I was not going to just follow through with that. In the meantime, while I was still waiting to pick up the report, I checked to see if there was any sense of urgency in changing the lock, seeing as she wanted me to continue to occupy the space. And they were not changed before picking up the paperwork. A couple of days later, before handing in the paperwork and the keys, I double checked again, and that is when the locks were changed. However, she never notified me or gave me a new set of keys, which was wrong on her part completely, seeing as she wanted to follow procedure in the lease. That is basically what helped me get through everything, receiving my money back, having the rent prorated for the 5 days that I occupied it, and being able to move on with a clean slate. So my takeaway and your takeaway would probably be these 3 things. Number 1, double check to see if your state is pro-landlord or pro-tenant. Because in the state of Georgia, where I currently reside, it is pro-landlord. Basically, that means if I would have had to go to court, then more than likely the judge would have been in favor of the landlord opposed to me as the tenant. Number 2, I would say to check the Better Business Bureau. I personally thought before this that the Better Business Bureau was only for, let's say, commercial businesses like a store or something. However, you can find a lot of reviews and ratings on apartments that you might not see widely spread throughout Google when you're doing your research. And the 3rd thing is to understand the importance of renter's insurance, because I had no clue before this incident the difference between obtaining the insurance through the apartment or through a reputable company. So I opted to go with getting insurance through the apartment. However, I learned quickly that I had 0 coverage whatsoever to take care of any of my damages in terms of lost property. But I will be doing a separate video to understand the importance of renter's insurance soon, so make sure you are tuned in for that video. But that is all for this story time. I know it was kind of long, kind of crazy, interesting, wild. It was great. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Have any comments, questions, concerns, please leave them down below. And make sure to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and that little bell notification next to it so that you won't miss any of my videos ever. All right, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.